Hey guys, Sean here at the Gardener Center. So if you've been following along in our newsletters this year or on our YouTube channel, you may remember just about a month ago, I did a video on growing tomatoes successfully in containers. And at the end of the video, I mentioned that we were going to be checking in periodically on the little tomato that we potted up a month ago and talking about it as it went along during the growing season. So today we're going to do our first check-in with our little tiny cherry tomato that I potted up in last month's video. And if you remember, we started here. This is what I started with, a little 3.5-inch cherry tomato. And I asked you guys to do a couple of things. You know, I kind of asked, but then I kind of called them rules and kind of hoped that you would all follow them. So a few things that I asked everybody to do was to use the largest pot you possibly could to put your one tomato plant in, not multiple tomato plants. So we were going to use the biggest pot we could. We were going to put one tomato plant in the pot. We were going to put as much soil in the pot as we could. We were going to incorporate some espoma tomato tone into that soil in the pot. And then we were going to put this big 56-inch tomato cage and these big 5-foot stakes in our pot. And if you recall, it looked pretty silly because this little tiny thing was in this great big pot with this great big cage, but this is 4 weeks later. This is 1 month of growth on this cherry tomato right here. And if you look, this plant after 1 month of growth is already almost at the top of this 56-inch tomato cage. That's why I recommended using the biggest tomato cage you could, because this plant's only been growing for 1 month and it still has 3 more months to go. So that's, hopefully you guys understand now why we went so big with everything here. The other thing I asked you guys to do was to not plant other plants around the tomato plant at the bottom of the pot. And if you have a look here, you can kind of see now why I asked you not to put things around it, because anything that was planted down here, if you put basil in there or marigolds, you wouldn't even be able to see them right now because they would all be covered up by the tomato foliage. So speaking of foliage, with our 1 month check-in here, now's the time we're going to start doing things with our tomato plant, because I know a lot of you guys are playing along at home with this, because I sold a lot of pots and tomato cages to you guys. So now's the time we're going to start actually doing some things to our tomato plant. The only thing I've done with this tomato plant since we potted it up a month ago was I put it in a spot where it got 8 hours of sun a day, and I watered it a couple times a week. That's it. No fertilizer at all, because remember, we all put the tomato tone in it when we planted it, so there's no need for any additional fertilizer this year. But this is the time, usually a month after a month's worth of growth, the plant's developed, it's got some flowers on it, it's even got a couple of baby tomatoes in here already. But now's the time we want to start doing a couple of chores, a couple of tasks here. So what I really like to do once the tomato has developed like this, I like to go in and start removing some of the foliage from the bottom of the plant. And I know this may look scary to a lot of you. I know pruning and trimming is one of the things that a lot of people get intimidated about with gardening. But this is all good stuff we're about to do here. And I'll explain to you why we're going to do this. So I'm going to go in and remove some of the foliage from the bottom of the plant here, because now it has enough foliage up top. It's going to allow light and air to the bottom. If you've grown tomatoes before, you probably know they're prone to a couple of different diseases, and a lot of those diseases actually begin at the bottom of the plant and they get on the bottom leaves and then they work their way up the plant as the season goes. So at this time, I like to go in and start removing some of these bottom leaves. Actually get the, we'll see if we can get the camera in here and get a better shot of what I'm doing here. So I like to go in and I like to start removing these leaves at the very bottom of the plant, like so. And then there's also, I would have cut this earlier, but I kind of let this one be so I can demonstrate for you guys at our first check in here. This is what a sucker here. You can see this one came out from the base of the plant. So I'm also going to go in and remove that, like so. We're going to pull that right out of there. And then I'm going to keep going here. And again, I know this might look a little scary, but I really like to open things up at the base of the plant. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to go in and get rid of this one. And I'm going to get rid of this one. And then we have this big sucker here. So these are a side shoot or a sucker. So this Again, this should have been removed earlier, but I wanted to kind of let things go for our check-in here. So I'm gonna go in and get rid of that one too. And trust me, there's still plenty of tomato here. And I might as well finish while I'm here, right? So let's get rid of this guy over here too. Like so. And I'm gonna get rid of one more back here, like so. And what the heck, that guy too. So you can see what I did here. We opened up the bottom. There's gonna allow more light and air here. Plant's gonna keep growing up top here. I just talked about some suckers, something you may have heard about about growing tomatoes before. And that is when, and I'm actually gonna invite the camera to come back around again. These are suckers. So that's what I just cut off, over here. And they'll come out from the side stem like you see right here between a leaf and the main stem of the plant. And a lot of people like to pinch those out. And when they're small like that, you can just use your thumb and your forefinger like that and pinch them out. The idea behind that is to prevent those from developing flowers and tomatoes too soon. You want to let your plant get some energy before it starts putting a lot of effort into fruit production. But to be perfectly honest with you, if that kind of thing is off-putting or you don't feel like figuring out the right way to do that, you don't have to. A cherry tomato, quite frankly, usually would be happy growing in a ditch on the side of the road, and without any kind of special pinching or pruning, you're going to get lots of tomatoes. And I personally don't spend a lot of time or effort removing suckers, but I do like to open up the plant at the bottom like this. And even though I just opened it up at the bottom like this, it doesn't mean now is time to plant marigolds, because this soil is very important. Remember, it still has 3 more months to go. It's done all this growing up here, but it's done just as much growing down here as well. We can't see that, but this plant has a real extensive root system already. So, and this guy, I think we do have some little bitty tomatoes in here already. These are little cherry tomatoes, obviously, and these will for sure be ready before the 4th of July. So those will be the first tomatoes of the year. Got some flowers here. They'll be soon to follow. But yeah, guys, this is I hope you understand now why I wanted big pots and big cages and big stakes and one plant and nothing underplanted, because you do this right. This one tomato plant, family of 4, you're all cherry tomato fans. This plant is going to keep you guys full of cherry tomatoes from the middle of July to September. So thanks for watching. We'll check in again in another month. So we'll see you next time.